From the On Target Digital Marketing Podcasting Studios in sunny Orlando, Florida, it's the T Squared Tech Talk Podcast with Tom Jelnick and Tom Craig. It's frickin' Friday afternoon, and you know what that means, Tom.
It's that time.
It is that time, Tom. It's time for another edition of the T Squared Tech Talk Podcast. I'm Tom Jelnick. I'm joined with...
Tom Craig sitting on this side of the table.
And you're looking swell, my friend.
I'm feeling energetic. I've been pumped up by a little cupcake from one of my clients before I headed over here.
Well, that was nice. Did you bring some for the rest of us, Tom? That's the important question.
Absolutely. I think they're down in the car or something.
Oh, they're down in the car melting in the Florida sun. That's very thoughtful
we'll
and kind
about
of
that
you.
later.
Yeah. And I see you got a little Mountain Dew action with you.
Had to do that, you know. It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Gotta stay on point, especially when talking tech with you. You know, gotta stay on my toes over here.
I appreciate that. And I, from what I understand, you just came from laying a little bit of cable, Tom, did you?
Yeah, well, wanting to lay cable would be a way to look at it, and being thrown off my game there. But no, yes, it's always nice when you get a call to go find out why something isn't working, and you pull up and there's the landscaping crew scrambling out of there because they see the computer guy coming, and that's usually a good sign.
They're kind of crapping their pants a little bit.
They were,
there, Tom.
and wouldn't you know, by the time I actually walked in the front door, they were all pulling out of the parking lot.
Yeah,
and,
like really fast, right?
Yeah, it was pretty easy to determine what happened. They cut the cable.
There's squealing tires. There's it wasn't my fault, not me.
That's exactly it. It was amazing how quickly everybody vanished once I arrived.
Well, you got to the root of the problem, and haha, see what I did there, Tom? I unintentionally did that one. So listen, I'm going to up my game a little.
All right. I hope that's Mountain Dew.
This is a Diet Coke this afternoon, Tom.
I'm sorry to hear that.
They gotta recaffeinate the system.
Yeah. Well, you've chosen the wrong drink. Should have picked out a little bit of Jolt Cola.
Oh, the Jolt Cola.
That's
I remember
right.
the Jolt Cola.
Yeah.
You know what that goes really well with? Whiskey, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So you get depressed, but you get jacked all at the same time.
Well, there you go.
It's a very special moment.
Nice. Quick shout out today, if I could, to Ray and Jason over at Grata Software.
Oh,
yep.
Hey guys, how are you?
Jason's a listener of the show there, and we were talking this last week, and they were kind enough to steer one of our most recent clients our way. So we just wanted to thank them for being listeners and watching out for Advanced Systems Solutions.
They are getting right behind you, aren't they, Tom?
I tell you, they stand behind our name almost as well as we do.
I love that. They're kissing a little bit of assy. Am I right?
That's what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Well, guys, thanks so much for listening, and we'd love it if you keep sharing this this tremendous podcast with a friend. And you know, for those of you who don't know, Tom and I are givers at the very core.
Just trying to help, Tom.
We are, and
trying to help.
And we're sick of all the geek speak, Tom, aren't we?
Nope. We want to put this in a way that people can understand, because Lord knows there's a lot of people out there who certainly make it difficult.
Let's face it, Tom. There's a lot of bullshit out there. Let's just call a spade, my friend.
No, that's one way. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But not just that. There's, technology can't always be your friend.
That's for damn sure.
Yep, and trying to figure out the ways and the rules and the hows of how everything is pieced together in this world. That's what we're here for, to shine some light on that.
And we love doing it, don't we?
Sure do.
And we got a shout out from the in-laws, didn't we?
We get a shout from them every week.
Yeah, it's not even a shout out. It's
Tom?
Yep.
I can hear it.
Yep, usually just a shout from across the room.
Can you bring the Metamucil?
One of a million things,
Could you bring me the remote that's 5 feet away?
How about those saltines? Do you have any more saltines, Tom? How about Werther's? Are we out?
Could you run to the store?
I love the run to the store. And then when you get back...
Did you get the Thin Mints?
Yeah.
I don't want to put you out, but I am going to ask you to run
But
to
I'm
the
going
store.
to inconvenience the hell out of your life.
That's right.
Yeah. So speaking of inconvenient lives, Tom, I've been doing a lot of reflecting on the internet.
Yeah?
A lot.
How so?
Some deep thoughts.
Yeah? In what aspects?
I'm trying to find my zen and my center, and I'm trying to find why people are up in arms about privacy.
Well, it's like they expect it on the internet, and unfortunately, as much as we like to think that we could expect some form of protection of our profiles, it's not to be expected.
You gotta have protection, Tom.
Yeah, well, that's what we learned growing up. But
Yeah, you're damn right.
But the more we use these apps, the Facebooks of the world, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, Amazon and others, they've got a lot of data out there on us.
They certainly do. And those folks in Kurzblackistan are hungry for it, are they not?
Hey, they're paying top dollar.
They are.
And they're apparently getting it because they're ending up with the data. So
They certainly are
that
doing
dark web.
nefarious things.
See,
with
there
that
it is.
data, Tom.
Bing, 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 bing. There,
We nailed it.
Yeah, I tell
Now,
you.
if only we could work in the word kerfluffle,
Yeah?
we'd be golden.
Okay, well, we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, kerfluffle, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. No
so
taking.
I want to take you on a journey, Tom.
Tell me.
I want you to go back several years ago
Okay.
in a cold dorm room,
Yeah.
and you're a young man with eager ambitions, and you're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I don't know what the hell that means, but that's what people say.
I'm hearing the buzzing of the modem.
You're seeing the world through a different lens. You're a creator, Tom. You're a tech geek.
Okay.
You're locked up, holed up in your dorm room, and you pull out your, God forbid, your laptop, and you want to make something. You want to create the next big thing,
All right.
and you do.
Okay.
And you know what you call it?
What's that?
You call it Facebook, my friend.
Oh, all right.
So Mark Zuckerberg set out to connect campuses. To connect is actually the college he went to was at Stanford.
I was going to say, was
Yeah.
this actually the creators or Zuckerberg who then took?
Oh
the
yeah,
creators
there's a
for-
whole nother backstory to that too.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and I've seen that movie. It's a fine movie, but creating this network, which was brilliant,
Yep.
and is brilliant, of faces that we can relate to. And I'm a Sagittarius, and Tom over there's a Gemini, and he likes long walks on the beach and Mountain Dew.
See, the fact that you just nailed all that just makes me worried in itself. That
Yeah,
that that's out
I
there.
tapped into Kurzblackistan, Tom.
Exactly.
So, but Mark Zuckerberg didn't set out to build something to jack and take all of your personal information. He actually, well, according to the movies, set out to create something, that could enhance and connect people on campus and even enhance dating, etc. So
Yeah.
the world, Tom, the internet world has come a long way since that dorm room.
It certainly has, but unfortunately, a lot of the privacy regulations along with it haven't caught up.
Well, that's correct. And Facebook, if you look back, has become this monstrosity of data collection. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg and other companies, Amazon included, are under intense scrutiny now to keep consumers' information safe and private.
That they are, and it's there's a couple different reasons why I think we're seeing the movement now. You were talking about from Zuckerberg. He's taken more of a proactive stance, I think you were mentioning before the show. And of course, my first thought was GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation.
That sounds like a
From the-
like a Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, Tom.
I tell you, you know what? It does sound awful good, but it's a little bit more refreshing because it's not
gotcha.
just going to satisfy our thirst.
Yeah.
It's going to satisfy that desire for keeping our data protected.
I do have that desire, Tom.
Yeah, as we all do, and as we see this taking place over in Europe, the GDPR, as well, it's coming across the pond, if you will,
Yeah, the old
and all
pond.
the way across the country to California.
Even over there?
They've moved. It jumped. Apparently, it jumped all the other lower 48 straight over to California.
Oh, it's always California, right?
And,
It always
they-
starts
They're
there.
the first ones, but 2020, as of January, you're going to be required to follow very stringent regulations similar to the GDPR. And I think as we see California adopt this, it's going to take place. It's going to propagate amongst the states very quickly. So
Yeah, so I wonder if they're giving out joints and stuff with every email address.
I think
you
they're
create.
giving away everything in California.
Oh, sure.
Not just it doesn't stop at just the joints.
No,
it's
of
the
course
whole
not.
ligament, the whole bone, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
They're giving away the whole arm.
Yeah, we love
But-
you, California, though.
that's right.
We're not picking on you.
But
that much.
but I think that's why Zuckerberg's really on the defensive. That and Elizabeth Warren coming down and threatening to break apart Facebook and Amazon and roll back some of their recent acquisitions. Pretty wild at how all that's coming to play. I'm not quite sure how I feel about additional government regulation on this. However, as we were saying, Facebook has grown so much. We've all, it's evolved with us in our hobbies. We find groups on there that share the same likes that we do, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
And as it's grown, there's been no regulation. Nobody has said,
Hey, how is our data being used.
There are no laws to keep up with technology.
And, it's painted oftentimes, and I question it myself too, Tom, is Mark Zuckerberg, sitting behind the scenes and doing his evil how do they say that? Maniacal?
Yeah, absolutely. Maniacal laugh, that one too.
That evil laugh.
Yeah.
Behind it is, I've got Tom Craig's birthday now. That's what I can do with that.
Yep, stroking the cat like Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Building tiny miniature factories with...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wonder if that's, or if it's just, it's just how things have evolved, and they've been able to take advantage of the Cambridge Analytics, if you will.
Right.
The fact that people are willing to pay for this data, and there's no law against it, so they take the money and run.
Listen, Tom, as a marketer,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, that data you can get out of Facebook is pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's gold.
Yeah, if I want to sell alpaca training to the folks in Kersplakistan,
That's how you get it done.
I can
huh?
pinpoint the shit out of that with Facebook.
Huh.
So,
Yep.
yes, it's a very
More so than
powerful tool.
LinkedIn or any other tool, correct?
In my humble opinion,
Yep,
absolutely.
that's what I'm to understand. Of course, you would know far better than I.
Yeah,
But,
I could probably sell anything to anybody if I could just get, you set that right target data that Facebook has. That is the brilliance of Facebook and the power of Facebook. However, conversely, as a human being subject to marketing, it's getting saturated again.
Yeah.
And, I used to always tell people the internet used to belong to companies and corporations. And then over time, those banner ads and those bounty things, and they stopped losing their effectiveness because as consumers, we're obviously constantly barraged with nonsense and crap being slung at us. So we tune it out. But Facebook's bringing that back. Like, I'll tell you, just before I walked in here, I must have had 10 different ads from random crap that I'd clicked on as I was on the net.
It's amazing how quickly it happens
Yeah.
as well. You go looking for something, and just a matter of single-digit minutes later, in your feed, on your search engines, whatever it is, they're targeting you. And I think what's funny is, you have some people who use search engines like DuckDuckGo.
Right.
And they're trying to keep their personal data safe. And it's like, okay, well, that's fantastic and all. However, you are paying an internet service provider that knows who you are.
Right.
And you're passing your traffic through them. Have you thought about what's happening with your data at that level?
I think that's a fascinating point. And I don't think the majority of the world understands how that works. And you're absolutely right. I don't care how much privacy you sling on your browser. The fact of the matter is your ISP, your cable company, your phone companies now that have internet access, they know exactly where you've been. And don't think that they're not selling that shit either.
Absolutely. And not to get too technical here, but our geek friends will love this part. Even your screen resolution is something that's used to pinpoint who you are. So if you're using incognito browsing with an incognito browser and you're doing everything you can to mask yourself, they still can find out who you are awfully easy.
And we're not talking masks like the in-laws.
No,
Have you seen them put
no.
this mask on at night?
No,
that schmutz
yeah.
and it like drips off.
See,
and
at
it's
that hour, I'm off and in the man cave. And,
You need to be
and I'm
far
battened
away.
down. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard the stories, Tom. Don't need to see them.
You pick up your last saltine cracker and you haul ass over to the
Kind of like
Craig.
the boogeyman. Haven't seen him, but I know he's around.
Yeah.
And so it's just
Yeah.
something you have to believe in.
Yeah, that stuff drips all over and it oozes and there. It's like, what are we maintaining here? Are we getting the warts off? What's going on with this
See,
stuff?
it's hard to even tell, and what's being maintained, but that's a whole nother argument
Yeah,
there.
face schmutz.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Face schmutz, Facebook, same thing.
It all ties in together, Tom.
It does, it does.
So the internet, and we were talking about this before the big show. The internet used to really be the wild, wild west, and you could say anything about anybody. You still kind of can. But all these big companies have risen and turned into Goliaths in terms of data collection. I think it's a really super cool thing. But now, what do you do? And that's kind of where the world's at today. Is you mentioned regulation. I'm not for the government stepping in and sticking their fingers in private enterprise, but I do agree that we've got to figure something out. And consumers, our listeners, I hope, need to inform themselves about how much data they're actually giving up. And it's not enough just to click I agree to whatever the hell you're signing up for.
Yep.
You've got to understand exactly what you're doing. Mm-hmm. My dad used to say this all the time. He goes, nothing's for free in life. And that's so true. When you think about, you sign up for a Facebook account, you sign up for Constant Contact, anywhere you're putting in your email address for free, guess what?
Nothing's free.
Nothing is free, my friend.
Nope. That data is being shared and sold, and quite frequently.
Yeah.
As proven on the dark web. And again, it's you think, okay, well, what are they really going to do with a little bit of my data? Well, it's not just a little bit; it's a whole lot is what they're going after. They're trying to bundle it, if you will.
Right.
Same as Spectrum, because it's much more appealing when you can sell a bundled.
Selling a pile of crap to somebody.
Exactly,
I'm so sick of these bundles. And let me go off on this for a minute, Tom.
Please do.
This is a fresh freaking wound.
All right.
So I cut the cable, as you may know.
Was that the one that I just came from in the
Yeah,
landscaping?
Yeah.
All right.
I cut the same damn cable.
Yeah, apparently.
But, so listen, and we did a show about this. How to sign up for cloud television programming, et cetera. But so when I cut the cable, I had to keep the damn internet. So I couldn't really cut the cable. It's a saying, folks. Just stick with it. So you cut the cable. So get rid of the television and get rid of the stupid phone that we never used because we didn't even have a phone, but we had a phone line from cable company.
Yep. For those faxes.
Oh yeah, from Kersplockistan.
Exactly.
From Joe the roofer who wants to show me his asphalt.
Cruise on sale.
Yeah, the crew. They had a great time. Yeah, they're still talking about
you
that.
got them off on that.
It was
huh?
great.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Ahoy. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a couple cocktails in Kersplockistan and call me later. So I call up to cancel and I got the internet speed. I had the lightning, Tom. They call it the lightning speed.
Okay.
It's fast.
Shazam.
So they say. Yeah, Shazam. I'm excited. So I call them up. I'm like, hey, kids, love you, mean it, but I got to drop. I'm going to drop this because I'm cutting cable. I'm very proud of myself.
Well, Mr. Jellick, guess what? You can't keep the internet speed you currently have because we no longer sell that.
No, maybe
Nice.
you don't understand. I already own it.
Yeah.
You don't need to sell it.
Exactly.
I already have
It's
it.
already in place.
I already got it.
Right?
I already got all the speed I need.
Just do a transfer.
So this is brilliant and evil all
Yep.
at the same time.
Okay.
Mr. Jellick, you have two options. You can go down to this speed, or you can go up
Great.
to this speed. But the speed you currently have doesn't exist.
So you could spend a few dollars more, or you could.
Suffer.
You could suffer because now you're going to be watching all of your crap on the cloud, all of your Magnum PIs and Blue Bloods.
And you can't go slower than what you currently have.
No. And I have, Tom, I counted them the other day, 62 devices on my home network, all looking for bandwidth. Those are kids with Apple iPods and Apple Watches and Apple this and Apple that. As you can imagine, there's a shit ton of Apples in my house.
I had no idea 62 would be the magic number.
Easily 62.
That's good stuff.
Borderline, pushing 63 by the end of the day.
All right.
So, you're a moron if you go down speed and they know it. So they've got you by, what do they call those? The short hairs, Tom.
By the in-laws.
Oh, yeah, the in-laws and the short hairs. But not the in-laws' short hairs.
Is there a problem with the internet?
It's awfully slow. I can't watch my Magnum PI.
Exactly. Murder, She Wrote is right in the middle.
And Murdoch's coming up.
See, you can't disrupt these things.
You know
Tom.
who I like? Tom, this is my new guilty pleasure.
Okay.
I shouldn't say this on air.
Oh no.
Judge Judy.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
She is a badass.
Yeah?
You ever watch the Judge
No,
Judy?
I can honestly say
Oh
I
my
haven't.
goodness, she
Yeah?
doesn't take shit from anyone in her courtroom.
Well, as much
Tom.
money as she's making, I think she must be doing something right.
She is the highest paid female actress, I believe, on,
I've heard some
on
numbers.
television.
And yeah, you go Judge Judy.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
So-
She's doing something right.
Back to the bundle, Tom.
Back
I
to
don't
the
even
bundle.
have any freaking idea how we got where
Well,
we
that's
just
the
got.
in-laws. They'll do that to you.
It's damn in-laws,
See?
right?
Every time.
Are they making goulash for dinner? What is it, casserole?
It wouldn't be so good. Yeah.
Man.
Schmutz.
So, the privacy conversation.
Yes, sir.
You've got to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And certainly, I think we're going to see, I think Mark Zuckerberg's going to rebuild the way Facebook actually operates. Because let me tell you something, if he doesn't, I think he's in big trouble. And I think a lot of the generation, my generation, yours, certainly not Mason's, who's back here Snapchatting with Matthew about Dolly Parton right now.
I tell you, yeah.
I know.
That's a whole different platform.
Back and forth.
yeah,
They're looking at
yeah.
Dolly Parton pictures. God only knows what's going on there, but to each his own. So, but really Facebook's going to have to look, and Amazon and all of these companies are going to have to look at how do I protect and not make this such a public forum. Because
You're right.
if you think about it, at the genesis of the internet, that's what it was about. It's a public forum. And the first email that was ever sent came from a gentleman who just created like an online bulletin board system. You remember these, the BBSs of the days, and it was an exchange of public information.
Yeah, kind of like a chat room for those of you who only know the more recent terminology. But yes, you're right, Tom. It's you have to approach it as just that. You can't approach it as, well, they're going to be concerned about my data and willy-nilly go off and type in whatever your birth date is and your favorite color. And in fact, this was a good one. I had a last week somebody asked me to confirm one of my questions, and they said, what was the name of your fifth grade teacher?
Oh yeah, those questions.
And I said, well, there's no way I would have answered that question unless it's and they said, oh, well, actually, that's the answer. And I was like, see, and that's the beauty of it. As long as you pick something that, oh, no, now I got to go change my pet. Anyway, that's a
Did
whole
everybody
different
hear
thing.
that? Yes, sorry.
But as long as you choose one particular phrase and you stick with it, don't make it something that can be easily figured out.
Right.
What was the name of your first pet? Fluffy. But also, you posted on Facebook pictures of how much you miss Fluffy, your first pet.
Right.
And so don't make it something that can be figured out. Use a little bit of creativity here when creating answers to these questions. So that's just my 2 cents, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
No,
there.
it's great, and I really do see the internet evolving, Facebook, a lot of these social media channels, and the irony is they're built to be social.
Yeah.
But what's happening is we're being over social and we're oversharing, and there's too much shit being disseminated. So it's time to bring the reins in a little bit. And I think Mark Zuckerberg, to paraphrase a quote from a day or two ago, he said, when I first set out to build this was meant to be out in a very public house. He goes, now my platform, I feel, needs to be much more in the living room.
Yeah,
And-
interesting.
But he's seeing it, and he knows he's got to do a 360. Not that crappy 365 nonsense you're always spewing on about.
No, you see, you saw where I was going
I
with
did
that.
100%. I thwarted it, Tom, as they say, and I'm sure Angela is still. That was an interesting conversation about Angela's trip to the to the Microsoft store.
That's right. Yeah, well, she wouldn't be seen dead in the Apple store. She's trying to get work done here, Tom.
But yet she came home, Tom, to her Mac, and she told me.
Yeah?
I drilled her about this a little bit because I was very concerned for Angela's well-being and
we could tell.
current state of mental affairs.
Yeah.
And she exclaimed to me that you have never once had to come over and work on her Mac, but you've definitely had to work on her PCs. And
You know why?
I just rejoiced a little bit inside about that.
Because it's kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing. Kind of like the Etch-a-Sketch. Once you get the actual proper placement of the Etch-a-Sketch,
Sure.
there's really nothing you can mess up. So yeah,
Which
as long as
is a good thing, Tom, as opposed to a pile of shit PC. You touch
wait.
you screw it up,
Which a
it
computer
crashes, it breaks.
can be
you call Tom.
customized to do work for
Oh,
you.
customized.
Which takes me to my more recent, the latest, greatest thing, which is
Tell me.
diving into the mail sack.
It is time to reach into the mail
It's that
sack, Tom.
time.
It is a very special time at the T Squared Tech Talk podcast where we celebrate our listeners and their quest for information about tech.
And I was chomping at the bit to get to today's question.
Tell me, who is it?
It's from Bonnie right here in Orlando.
Bonnie from Orlando.
That's right. Yep. Bonnie writes to us about Facebook.
What she got?
She was a little concerned. She said, we had given advice to not always use correct information, but she was concerned that she might be breaking the law or assuming somebody else's identity as she enters her information onto Facebook. But I got to tell you, Bonnie, I wouldn't be concerned about that. When it comes time to enter your birth date, I wouldn't feel so obligated. They're mostly trying to make sure that you're of age and that you're not a juvenile out there.
These damn
wreaking
juveniles.
havoc. Yeah, those kids today.
Yeah, with their cans of spray paint. and their-
Wreaking havoc on the Facebook, spray painting on the walls.
Yeah. Cutting cables at country clubs,
See?
Tom. Yeah.
See, but no, I would highly suggest not using your actual birth date. And as I was alluding to earlier, when you have to create those security questions, create questions that can't be answered by somebody else when they look at your data, because somebody else could have the fact that you grew up on Park Avenue when you were a child and that your first elementary school was
Dolly Parton Elementary.
You read my mind.
Sure.
How'd you know
Yeah.
I went to school?
Because Mason just Snapchatted it to me.
Yeah. Well, see how fast this gets
I know,
around?
it's amazing. Yeah.
Bonnie, you got to watch out. But so for that reason, choose answers that only you would know and be consistent, because we don't want you to put King Kong in there for your uncle and come to find out that you can't remember what that answer is when the time comes. So pick some things that you can use consistently amongst many different platforms and stick with that. That's my 2 cents.
Well, that's some damn fine advice, Tom. And Bonnie, listen, I got to tell you, the same thing happened to me 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. A new client for a podcast, and for whatever reason, our emails kept getting blocked by their firewall, and they couldn't go into SoundCloud and set up their own or verify their email.
Okay.
So, the kind of service, Tom, that OnTarget provides is full service.
Okay.
I went out of my way. I created another Gmail address for her. And I went in and accepted the et cetera. But it asked for the birthday. And I'm like, I don't know this lady's birthday. And then I caught myself. I was like, I don't need to know her birthday. This is just to prove that I'm, that I'm over 14 or whatever the age limit is. But yeah, I always feel really odd putting in that kind of personal info now. So I think that's some sound advice, sir, that you just offered up to our friend Bonnie.
Absolutely. I've got one date that I pick out for everything, and keep it simple. It could be a month or 2 months and 2 days ahead of your current birthday.
Right.
But pick a date, Christmas, if you will, of
Christmas time.
the year you graduated, and use that for your birthday if you're old enough to be that far from graduation. But that's a whole other.
And we'll reach into Santa's sack when it comes time, too,
That's
Tom.
right, that's
I mean,
right.
we're not afraid to stick our hands in Santa's sack.
Whatever it takes, Tom. We're there.
We are there to get the job done, Tom, to
Amen.
dig around and pull out the best questions from friends like Bonnie. And Bonnie, Tom has some melted cupcakes in his truck down here in Maitland if you
Not
feel like
looking
stopping
forward to
by.
those, huh?
No, Bonnie, he's here for you. So you want a fresh, hot, melted ass cupcake? Come down and see us at the T Square Tech Talk Podcast Studios. I nailed that one, Tom. Did you hear
You
that?
did. I did. You did.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, that was a great conversation, Tom.
yeah, well, it's been good stuff, and when we're talking about the ever-changing landscape of social media, it's important that you stay up with what's happening out there, and most importantly, what they're doing with your data.
Amen, brother. So, did you get a souvenir from Kersplakistan when the in-laws came back to port?
I did.
What'd you get?
I got this handy dandy new. You would love it, Tom. I got a Microsoft business card.
Let's just stop you right
holder.
there.
See, I knew you'd love it.
I am not gonna
Check
love
that
it.
out. That is just awesome.
A Microsoft business card all the way from Kersplakistan.
That's you know what? As long as it's got the logo on it, I'm happy.
And you know where that came from?
No.
Vladimir
Yeah.
in Kersplakistan.
Yeah.
And he works at the goat farm next to the Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know what he does for a living, Tom?
Farm data from Facebook.
Bingo.
And
Using
Cambridge
Microsoft.
Analytics? Yeah, absolutely.
See, there's a glitch within. There's a lot of glitches within Microsoft, but that's a swell gift that the in-laws brought. Tom, I got a
Yep.
little something.
Exactly. So at least I got something for taking advantage of that cruise on the fax. On the fax machine.
That was a great gift.
So thanks, guys, in Kersplakistan, for getting that over to us.
Well, we've covered a lot today, Tom. We've been all the way to Kersplakistan and back. We tore up Facebook a little bit, talked about Mark Zuckerberg's dorm. What else did we talk about?
It's all about being safe, Tom. And as long as we can throw the in-laws under the bus when we're talking about being safe, I think our mission's accomplished.
We can throw them under, put it in reverse, and do it again, Tom.
You said it best.
Until next time, folks, it's been a great show. We so appreciate you tuning in. We so look forward to hearing from you right into the mail sack. Visit our T-Squared Tech Talk Podcast.com website. Tom, where can folks learn more about you and your in-laws?
We are at advancedsystemssolutions.com here on the web. And yourself, sir.
You can find me at ontargetdigitalmarketing.com. And again, guys, we love this show. We hope you love it. And please share it along. Until next time, take care.
This podcast was recorded at the On Target Podcasting Studio.